Okay, 1 second. It's delivery time. Okay, so while filming, I had a delivery. It's very exciting. Now, I ordered about a week ago from AliExpress a motherboard bundle, which I wasn't expecting to be this quick. So just bear with me. So welcome to Nellie's Nerd Cave. Back again. So really exciting today. Like you just saw in the intro, I received a delivery. It's supposed to be a motherboard from AliExpress. I've never ordered anything from AliExpress before, and I'm quite excited to see exactly what I've got, because it's come all the way from China. I've no idea what it is. It's taken less than a week to get here, and I've no idea if what they've said that I've purchased is actually accurate. So, without further ado, let's have a quick look. Now, I'm kind of guessing with the shape of things that this is a CPU cooler and this is a motherboard. Not quite sure. I can guess though. So let's have a quick look. First of all, yes, this is the cooler. As we can see, I wonder what's going on with this. It's supposed to be a CPU cooler. It's supposed to fit a 2011 CPU, which is also a server. Saw the pictures, didn't really think of it, but let's have a quick look. It said that it came with 3 fans, and indeed it does. It comes with 3 fans, and it's got 6 heat pipes. Oh, that's a bit. So the 3 fans are actually connected with 1 PWM connector, and it's a little naughty. They're 92mm fans, so hopefully that should be fine. Here is the materials for connecting it. Is there anything else left in the box? Yes, there is. So here we have the rather weird plastic stand and no instructions. Okay, so I'm hoping that I kind of know how to do this. These look like very nice thumb screws. Let's have a quick look. No? No. Right, I see. So these are obviously using a back plate that is probably a very standard back plate from other hardware. So let me have a look. Here I have the Thermalright Assassin King, and that has a back plate on it. It's very exciting, so let's have a look. Potentially that should fit. No, it doesn't. The screw threads are too big. So we shall see how this fits together shortly. Let's have a look at the second one. So that looks quite promising. So let's have a look at the second package. I'm hoping that this is the motherboard, which it should be. I also ordered extra memory for this. I ordered an extra 16GB of RAM. I'm hoping this is in this package too. So first of all, we have in here a packet. This packet says that it is a 16GB ECC memory. Let's have a look. Let's get ye olde cuttery thingy out. Very nicely wrapped, very nicely prepared for me. Let's have a look. So this is Kilisir, or whatever that is, and this is 116GB stick of DDR4 2133. The whole kit came with 16GB already, so I wanted to make sure that this had 32 gigs, and you'll see why later on when I'm testing this out. And this, I'm assuming, is there anything else in here? Nope, is the motherboard. And yes, so this says that it is from Shenzhen. So a motherboard, let's see. Ooh, very cheeky. Almost looks like Asus, but it's actually Zesus. This is a Zesus gaming motherboard. It says it's a gaming motherboard. That's one thing I want to test with this. Can this actually game? Now, as part of the kit, this should have a motherboard. That's the back plate, looking good so far. A SATA cable, a bit of cardboard. But it should have the motherboard, processor and memory already installed within this. So like I said, this is a Zesus motherboard. You may have seen some of these on other YouTube channels. This is where I saw it and decided, why not? Let's have a look. And it's a socket 2011. And this is basically a server board, and it came with a Intel E5, let's have a look, an E5 2650 V4 processor. This is 12 cores with 24 threads, so this is quite a nice little old piece of technology, or older piece of technology, that they're obviously recycling and making sure that other people can use. We also have, let's have a quick look. Oh, this is 16 gigabytes of DDR4 by HP. So this is HP server RAM. That's really good. Again, must be surplus to requirements and recycled. Now, this motherboard, as we can see, has 4 DDR4 slots. We have a PCIe 16, and I think, again, it comes with no real instructions other than where to plug everything in. No, so it comes with nothing about what this actually is. So it doesn't tell me the chipset, but it's going to be a server chipset. It doesn't tell me whether it's PCIe 3, 4, whatever, but it does come with the 4 DDR4 slots. It's socket 2011. It has some great power delivery with some nice heat sinks. Does say in the instructions that I need a battery. Prepared already for a battery, so let's pop this on here and let's pop the battery in. One battery installed. Let's make this 32 gigabytes of DDR4 rather than 16. He says, not being able to get it out of the pocket. There we go. Kilisher or Kilisher. Wrong way around, Neil. There we go. Let's make sure that we can get that in. As far as I understand, the literature on the website, which I'll show you in the image, actually says it can get, I think, 128 gigabytes of RAM in here. And looking at this cooler, this socket already has a thing on there for, yeah, it has a bracket on there already, which is fantastic. So let's have a look. Which way around can we put it on? Is it going to be that way? Yeah, it's going to be that way. So brilliant. This little bracket here fits directly onto the processor socket. You can then screw it down with these nice little thumb screws, actually. Nice for cheap. And then that will then clip on top. Now, this entire motherboard, including the 16 gigs of RAM, not the 32, but the motherboard kit with the 16 gigabytes of RAM was from AliExpress. It was £31 in total. It was free shipping if I spent over £8. So with that, I also added an extra 16 gigabytes of this Kilisher or Kilisire or whatever it's called, memory. And that was an extra 10 English pounds as well. The cooler was good. This was 12. We'll see what this cooler can do as far as cooling capabilities is concerned when we actually stick it on top of here. But what I've bought this for is to eventually, what I want to do is I want to create my own little NAS server using true NAS scale. But first of all, what I want to do is I want to investigate whether this can actually play games or not, because it's a server chip. It's got 12 cores, it's got 24 threads, and this is advertised as a gaming motherboard. So why not? Let's see if we can play a game on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of the graphics cards, which I had prepared earlier for a different video, and I'm going to use the RTX 3060. And the RTX 3060, this is the one from MSI, and this is the Ventus 2X. It has 12 gigabytes of GDDR6, and runs at 1807 megahertz, and is PCIe Gen 4. This was released in 2021. It plays a lot of the games very, very well at 1080p, and I want to investigate whether this can game and how far I can take it. Can I take it into 1440p? Will it play at 4K? I want to find that out. So hopefully you'll be able to join in this with me and we'll be able to investigate this together. So let me make the test bench. Let's see if we can get it up and running, and join me in a second where we will hopefully be able to run some benchmarks and play some games. Okay, so it's the next day. I've had a new haircut, I've got a different t-shirt on, I've had a few problems obviously. So when I first got this, I looked on the website and looked at the listing, and all it said was that the board itself just needed a battery, and placed the battery in and wired it all up, got it all ready to go in the test bench, tripped the two power pins, and nothing. So me being me, having lots of experience, he says, troubleshooting computers, what I did is I first dismantled the entire thing. I checked under the processor to see if there were any bent pins. There weren't any. I made sure that both RAM sticks were seated correctly. They were. I then checked to see if the power supply was functional. It was, because I'd used it on a previous video, and I also tested it as well, and it worked fine. Connected it all back up, again, tripped the two power pins, nothing. Got a little bit frustrated with myself, so I went downstairs, got myself a coffee, got myself some biscuits, had a chill out for a little bit, came back upstairs, tripped them again, and nothing still. So again, me thinking there's something wrong rather than looking at the obvious, which you're all shouting at your screens, Neil, look at that thing. No, I went in again, I dismantled the whole thing, looked at the whole processor, redid the whole thing, and still nothing. Tried it without the RAM in, nothing. One stick, nothing. The other stick, nothing. Then it dawned on me, what's the only thing that you've changed in the whole of this motherboard, Neil? The battery. So I took the battery out and tested the battery, and it was 0 volts. That was stupid. So, but who'd have thought that the sell-by dates and use-by dates on batteries are actually a thing? Because on the battery it actually said used by March 2023, and lo and behold, it's nearly March 2024 and the battery's flat. Who'd have thought? So I went down to my local shop, bought some more new batteries, put the batteries in, tripped the power, and it worked. Fantastic. Absolutely spot on. So got rid of all the problems, made this function, loaded it into Windows, got some games on it, and you're going to see that next. Starting here with 3D Mark Speedway, and we're getting between 19 and 22 frames per second, which isn't bad for this, but this one shows you a little bit of the ray tracing, and you'll see that at the end of that score we actually get a 2032, telling us that at 1440p we can get around about 75 frames per second, which is really quite good. So when we run Port Royal, we can see that we get between 19 and 26 frames per second. Remember, this is on 1080p at 144 Hertz on this particular monitor that I'm using, the MSI monitor. So it's really pretty good. And when we get to the end of this one, the score is 4980, which is really good. It estimates our performance on 1440p at 80 frames per second. Then when I run 3D Time Spy, we're getting between 49 and 55 frames per second. In some cases, we're getting 61, 62 frames. Again, depending on the complexity of the actual scene. We get a graphics score of 8429 with an overall score of 8252, and our CPU score is 7375, again, which is really good and useful for playing games. It says that we can run this at 85 plus FPS when we're running on 1440p. I ran the Resident Evil 6 benchmark as well, and we can see there that it's running at 3060, it's running at 1080p, and we get 17,639, which is one of the highest scores I've actually ever got on one of these, but I haven't run it for a long time. I then go into Cinebench and I run a 10-minute loop on the multi-core CPU just to see what it's like, and you can see there that the temperatures, the highest temperature that we end up getting is around about 67 to 68 degrees C, which is absolutely fantastic, and we get an overall score of 9,053, which is really good for this particular processor. Now, I need to admit something here. I left the piece of plastic on the bottom of the heatsink, and I'm sure that the temperatures would have been lower on the CPU if that piece of plastic wasn't there. But that just goes to show how good this heatsink really is. So in the entire excitement of me being excited with getting this through the post and me trying to get it working as quickly as possible, because that's the kind of guy I am, I forgot to tell you a few details about the board. So the board is micro ATX. The ports on the back, we have two PS2. Not for those people that don't know, we have green for mouse and purple for keyboard. We have 6 USB 2s. We have 1 gigabit Ethernet port, and we have 3 sound connectors as normal that we would normally see. On the board itself, we have a X16 PCIe and a X1 PCIe. We have a USB 3, we have 2 USB 2s, and we also have the output for the sound as well as the normal front I/O connectors. It also has 4 SATA sockets as well, so I can connect 4 hard drives on it, and an M.2 slot, which is absolutely fantastic. This means that I can now do what I'm going to do, which is later on I want to make a NAS. So M.2 for the operating system, 4 ports for now for 4 hard drives. Expand that by getting an extra card that plugs into the X1 slot, and I've got a fairly decent NAS, especially one with 24 cores. So really useful board. Now, as you saw from the previous experiments that I did, can you game on this board? It does say that it's a gaming motherboard. Can you game on it? Well, I can happily say yes, you can. If you want to play 1080p gaming or 1440p, it's brilliant. You're getting over 145 frames per second in a lot of instances. I was capped by the fact that we were looking at the hertz of the screen that we were using, so it was capped at 145. So yes, you can game on this thing. Would I recommend gaming on this? Not really. It's got USB 2 mainly. It's got a header for USB 3. So really anything high speed that you want to connect to this, it's going to cause some problems at some point with latencies. Plus, it's a Xeon chip. Most of the games out there aren't really designed for Xeons. And it's ECC memory. So every so often you get a little glitch when the error correction has to kick in and correct something, which then gives you more latency, and it really doesn't work as effectively as it should, which is why I want to use this in a NAS. I bought this to build a NAS, but I wanted to see, because it said gaming, could I game on it? Lastly, the cooler that I got. The cooler cost £13 British. This thing is a monster. It's absolutely fantastic. It's really good. It kept the temperatures of that CPU at idle between 30 and 40 degrees, which is pretty good for a £13 cooler. In a game, we were looking at 60 degrees. If you've enjoyed this video and you've liked what I've done and you want to explore these, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe to my channel. All the links, as usual, will be down in the description below, so if you want to purchase any of this equipment, you know exactly where to go. All the links for everything that I've bought, so the motherboard, the extra RAM and the CPU cooler, will all be there. And until next time, see you later.